Hey everyone, Foyfluff here, hope you're doing well, and today we're doing something a little bit different on the channel. We're doing something that could spark the slightest, the smallest of controversies. We're ranking every Pioneer legal set in Magic the Gathering. We're doing it all in one take, doing it live, so we'll see how this goes. Let's get a couple things out of the way first. One, you might be asking, why Pioneer? Why not Modern? Why not Standard, I guess? Why not Legacy, Vintage? Every set, go for it. The reason is pretty straightforward. One, Pioneer is probably the constructed format that I like most, next to EDH. And two, it contains the sets that I know the best. I kind of started playing around Khans of Takia, you could say, depending on your point of view of what counts as starting playing. I either started playing in Future Sight, Core Set 2013, or Khans of Takia. I'm going to choose Khans of Takia. That's when I got the most invested in Magic. So I know, a lot about most of these sets. I have strong attachments to a lot of them. Whereas, if you're asking me questions about Urza's Saga or Cold Snap or something, I'm not going to know anything about those sets, so let's not worry about it. And lastly, obviously these are all my own opinions. I'm not trying to make this sound like objective fact. If you've got a disagreement with anything that I say in this tier list, please let me know in the comments section. Try and persuade me of your opinions, and maybe you'll change my mind. Changing someone's mind on the internet, can you imagine? But also, the link will be in the description for you to also access this tier list. You can make your own, send it to me, put it on Twitter or something like that. I'd love to see it. Make your own video. I'd love to see what you guys think as well. So we're going to start with the first Pioneer legal set, Return to Ravnica. Return to Ravnica. I'm going to put everything, basically, I've stolen the idea for this video from Northern Lion. Obviously, he's not the first person to make a tier list, but I'm a big believer in, when it comes to YouTube content, find a video idea that works for someone else, and think about, how could you make that work for yourself? So that's exactly what I've done here. I watched Northern Lion's tier list videos, and I thought, hey, I could do that, but for Magic the Gathering. And like he does, I'm going to put everything in good as a basis while we talk about it, and then we'll decide where it's going to be. Alright, so as I said, before Khans of Takia, I don't know the cards of these sets super well, but I have had a look through the card list. I do have them up on the second monitor here, if I want to double check something. But I'm going to try not to do that. I'm going to try and go with what my opinions are of these sets, just based on, what I know. Return to Ravnica. Is Ravnica done right? People like Return to Ravnica. Has some good cards for all formats. Packrat is in Return to Ravnica. Deathrite Shaman, rest in peace. The Shocks are in Return to Ravnica. It's good. It's a good set. It does Ravnica right. It builds the world right. The lore around it is good. It's a good set. In fact, it's more than just good. It's incredible. Another thing I should mention, these are all in relation to each other. Every Magic the Gathering set is pretty good by virtue of the fact it gives you more cards to play with. And almost every set, no matter how bad the set is going to have like one playable card in it, like that changes the format in some way, or you like in EDH or something. So there's no truly terrible sets, but in relation to each other, relative to each other. Up next is Gatecrash. As far as I'm aware, I'm going to actually double check the card list for Gatecrash. So we've got the other half of the Shocklands, and that's about it. Not seeing a ton here. Enter the Infinite, Blind Obedience, Lazav. It's only, I don't know where to put this. I'm going to say, sorry, I should be putting it in good before I go any further. Got Boba Rigmos in there. It is Ravnica, so that gives it some points to begin with. I'm going to leave it in good. I'm tempted to put it in kind of bad, but I don't think it quite deserves that. Dragon's Maze, on the other hand. Dragon's Maze gets a really bad rap, mostly because it's called Dragon's Maze and doesn't have a single dragon in the set, as far as I'm aware, which obviously, upsets people. People like their dragons. And if you call the set Dragon's Maze and then don't have a single dragon in it, people are going to be disappointed in that. It's understandable. But when we actually look at the cards that are in Dragon's Maze, we see some good ones. We've got the Voice of Resurgence in there, Master of Cruelties, Progenitor Mimic, Maze's End, Possibility Storm, Notion Thief, that's always a good one, Blood Baron of Viscorpa, Taser, Melek. It's not bad. I think it gets a worse rap than it deserves, but it's no better than good. It could be in the kind of bad, maybe, but nah. Alright, 2014 core set. As I say, we'll put it in good as a baseline. 2014 core set. It took Wizards... Well, Wizards had a different opinion on what core sets, or what function core sets should have within their game. Originally, core sets were meant to be introductory sets for newer players to the game, stripped down mechanics, not as wild, not as interesting, and also a good place to put reprints. And as a result, the older core sets have this, none of them really feel incredible. None of the cards really blow you out the water. They don't tend to be that fun to play in Limited. In terms of Pioneer, especially, and I'm not just talking about like their relevance to the Pioneer format. I am talking about the relevance to Standard and Draft and EDH and stuff like that. But in terms of the Pioneer format, it did give us Mutavault. That's what we've got to be thankful for in here, and little else. There's some EDH cards in here. You got Strionic Resonator, Archangel of Thune, Darksteel Forge, Rise of the Dark Realms. I don't know, it's kind of bad. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's kind of bad. It's not terrible, but it's kind of bad. There's just not much exciting about the old core sets. Thraos, the original Thraos. Obviously, this video has been made as of the release of Thraos Beyond Death, but this is the original Thraos, and obviously, I guess these tier lists would change as more sets come out, or at least you'd have more to put in them. The original Thraos, you've got Greek mythology out the wazoo. The 5 monocolor gods, very good. Elspeth, Sun's Champion. That's a Thraos card, right? Is really good. People, as far as I remember, the draft format was decent too. I think Thraos deserves to be incredible for the theme, for the monocolor gods, their relevance. People love Perforos and not so much Heliod, Erebos too. Nylea, Thassa. Relevant in a lot of formats. Reprinted Thoughtseize, gave us Thoughtseize as a reprint, which people are divided on, but I think I actually quite liked Thoughtseize being in Standard. One of the problems with having Thoughtseize in Standard, though, that did make Black really good. I think if you're going to put Thoughtseize in Standard, you need to put similarly good cards in other colours. Lightning Bolt, not Swords to Plowshares, was it Path to Exile, maybe? Please, just give white something. Please. Maybe they don't need to be quite at that standard. I liked having Thoughtseize back. It really needed the reprint. This was a good place for it. The art's cool. Is Greek mythology. It's a fun set. It's going in incredible. Born of the Gods. Now, Born of the Gods, I look at it and like, man, what's even in Born of the Gods? You look at Born of the Gods and Journey into Nyx, it's really hard to remember which cards are in which. Like, the Eidolons, which ones were there? Was that Journey into Nyx? I'm going to look at the card list quick, help me remember. Born of the Gods, you got the 2 color gods, Xenagos, Phoenix, Karametra, Morgus, and Ifara. You got Courser of Crucifix, you got some of the temples, you got Bremaz, Chromandacor, Kiora the Crashing Wave. I'm not sold. Perplexing Chimera though, EDH All-Star. I'm not sold on Born of the Gods being even good, quite frankly. The 2 color gods don't do it for me very much. I know people like the Phoenixes, I know people like the Xenagoses. What does Morgus do again? Deals 2 damage that play on this he or she sacrifices a creature. Nah, get it out of here. It's in kind of bad. You still got the Greek mythology going on. You got those gods. It saves it from being terrible. In fact, I think we're going to end up with like a sort of bell curve here, right? But Born of the Gods, nah, not feeling it. Journey into Nyx, as I say, so this must be where the Eidolons are then. We got Athreos, God of Passage, Crucifix, God of Horizons, Ajani, Mender of Heroes, Eidolon of the God Revel, Godsend, Dictate of Erebos, Karanos, God of Storms, some more temples, Pharika. This way, Anger of the Gods is? Dictate of the Twin Gods? Is Anger of the Gods not in here? Where is Anger of the Gods? Was that Born of the Gods? Was that originally Thraos? Sorry. Oh, Hero's Downfall, Anger of the Gods, Stormbreath Dragon. Yeah, I'm Pelucranos. Might see player 1 Siege Rhino rotates. Thraos definitely deserves to be in the incredible set, just as I look at the card list here. I promise we will stop looking at the card list as soon as we get to like Khans of Takia. Journey into Nyx seems slightly better than Born of the Gods. Also, I'm so sorry for that hissing noise. That must have just come through the microphone. I mean, it tells you something when the most valuable card in it is just Mana Confluence, and then Athreos, God of Passage, just for EDH. In fact, I think all these cards, apart from, yeah, whatever. Giant Nyx, kind of bad. Just not as good as Thraos. Big problem with these 3-block sets. The first, or 3 set blocks rather, the first set was always really good, and then the 2 after it was kind of like, 2015 core set. I'm going to look at the card list. Alright. We've got Sliver Hive Lord, Urborg, the Chainveil, Goblin Ravelmaster, Garruk Apex Predator, Chord of Calling. I want to put it in kind of bad. I really do. It gave us Ensoul Artifact though. And Scissors is maybe good enough to save this set from the kind of bad. Yisan the Wanderer Bard. You know what? I think... As a core set though, core set's intrinsically kind of a little bit boring. The cards in it, not super interesting. Like the fact that Sliver Hive Lord is the most valuable card tells you people love their slivers. But that's not necessarily a good thing. I'm putting it in kind of bad as well. I'm feeling harsh, but there's better sets to come. There is. Okay. Khans of Takia. As I said, I have a strong emotional attachment to Khans of Takia. It's where I got invested in Magic the Gathering as a game. So I started going to FNM. I started going to pre-releases. I think it was around maybe Dragons of Takia or Magic Origins that I started like playing in the sort of semi-professional circuits, like the PTQ circuits and the GBT circuits. Went to GP London. So, you know, Khans of Takia, I have some fantastic memories of it. So obviously I'm going to rate it pretty highly. But more than that, Khans of Takia is an incredible set. You've got the fetch lands being reprinted. Now, yeah, the fetch lands maybe cause some problems in Standard. It's arguable. I don't think that's necessarily the case. We'll get onto that later. I think Battle for Zendikar is really where the problem lies in that one. It was a 3-color set. Wedges matter. And that was awesome. You got iconic cards. Siege Rhino. Obviously, big menace. Of multiple formats, but Siege Rhino in Standard maybe felt overpowered, but in other formats I wouldn't say Siege Rhino has ever been overpowered. It's pretty much just the problem, like there were no cards better than Siege Rhino in Standard, and as time went on, you only had more and more reasons to play a Siege Rhino in your deck. So... but Monastery Swiftspear, Narset, you know, Khans was really the whole Khans block was a block of cycles, and all of the cycles were fantastic. You had the Khans themselves, the fetch lands, the ascendancies, the charms. It's an incredible set. Okay, no more has to be said about it. Fight me. Fate Reforged. So Fate Reforged, you know, cool sort of story here is, you know, going back in time, looking at how Takia was different, and then kind of making that crucial decision as to which sort of these two divergent paths Takia should evolve down, as represented in the card Crux of Fate. It's awesome. In terms of, you know, cards that Fate Reforged gave us, you've got Ugin the Spirit Dragon, of course, pictured here. You've got some more cycles. So in here you've got the Khans. The Khans in this set, not as exciting. Obviously Alesha stands out as a really cool one of the Khans. Yasova, Shu Yun, Tasiga also stands out. Am I missing one? I must be. Oh yeah, Anafenza. Anafenza, the Kin Tree Spirit. Which makes an infinite combo in modern and older formats. But it's not quite on the same level as Ravnica, as Thraos, as Khans of Takia. I'm going to put it in is really good. Dragons of Takia. One, people love the dragons. I've already stated this. People do love the dragons. Again, a series of cycles. I should mention, actually, Fate Reforged had the dragons cycle as well. But Dragons of Takia took those dragons, and now they're more powerful, right? You've got a Taka. She was like a 6/5 that gave attacking dragons a double strike. Now, she's a constructed playable 8/8 with flying and trample that deals 5 damage when she enters. It's much cooler. Silumgar, one hell of an upgrade. You've also got the commands in Dragons of Takia. What else do we have in here? We have the new sort of like cons. I'm gonna have to quickly look at Dragons of Takia. Yeah, you got like Narset Transcendent, Sidisi, Undead Vizier. The commands, Thunderbreak Regent. Just the dragons were cool. Megamorph was a bit of a silly mechanic. But especially, I mean, most of the name. It's not quite on the level of Cons of Takia, I don't think. It is really good, though. Fate Reforged is not maybe as good as Dragons of Takia, I've got to say. But it's fine. Alright, I'm gonna try and stop looking at card lists now. At least until we get to like Ixalan, where I stop playing. Right. Magic Origins. Now, Magic Origins introduced the Flipwalkers, which is a really interesting idea. I think it's pretty much only Jace that sees any play outside of like Standard and EDH now. And even there, he's kind of like, you pretty much just play him in Pioneer. Apologies while I drink some water. But the rest of the set, as I remember it, not too thrilling. It had some interesting effects, like Tainted Remedy, stuff like that. I remember the draft format actually being reasonably fun. I remember playing it, I was like, oh, this is a core set that's actually like kind of cool. It gets there. It's like, you can have fun with it. The other core sets, you draft them, you're like, oof, this is terrible. These mechanics just aren't fun. As a result, I'm going to put it in good. It's just like, alright. And the Flipwalkers were good enough. Okay, Battle for Zendikar. Boy, do I have some thoughts about Battle for Zendikar. Sorry. 1. The Tangle Lands, or the Battle Lands. A series of lands that had 2 land types, so like Island and Swamp. And they would come in untapped if you controlled 2 or more basic lands. These were a huge problem in conjunction with fetch lands. This meant in Standard now, each one of your fetch lands could pull like 4 different colours of mana, which is very good. And if you had 2 basics out, it could pull 4 different colours of mana that comes in untapped. So very good. So that really messed up Standard. They also printed Gideon in this set, I believe. The 2 mana, 2 white Gideon. That was too good. Made tokens, never left. Swung in, killed you. The Eldrazi in it weren't particularly exciting. You had a lot of the processors in here. And the processors just didn't work in any constructed format. They weren't really good in draft or limited either. Then you might, and the one saving grace that you might give to Battle for Zendikar is that it introduced the expeditions. This series of super rare lands that were foil and had really nice full art artwork and were much needed reprints of lands. Obviously, these were in such limited supply that didn't really help reduce the cost of these lands or anything, but they were really cool. Actually, I think that's a mark against Battle for Zendikar. You bought packs and packs and packs, or opened and drafted or whatever. Somehow you got and opened your packs of Battle for Zendikar, just to be disappointed time and time again, because there's not many good cards in the set. And the expeditions, you never got one. This is at least my experience. I imagine a lot of people do feel this way. So you're constantly looking for an expedition. You never get one. As a result, Battle for Zendikar had like some of the highest sales of any Magic the Gathering set ever. And it was a terrible set. And it's going in the terrible category. Not kind of bad, it's terrible. It's the first legitimately terrible set, I think. Oath of the Gatewatch. Right. Oath of the Gatewatch has its problems also. It introduced the Eldrazi that you've probably come to know and hate. Thought Not Seer, Reality Smasher. These true colorless Eldrazi that like require colorless mana in order to play, that had absolutely devastating effects on Modern for definite. I even think they have lasting damage in Legacy, maybe? No, yeah, maybe in Legacy, where they were just way too easy to play, led to bannings in Modern, and it's really hard to accept the fact that Wizards just didn't see that their lands that could tap only for Eldrazi would be really good when you print a ton of cheap Eldrazi. But, you know, once those lands were banned, I actually think Oath of the Gatewatch has had a more positive effect, definitely, than Battle for Zendikar. I like having Thought Not Seer in the formats. I like having Reality Smasher in the formats. Neither of them really seem to be causing any problems right now. Another thing about Battle for Zendikar, just let me go back to that for a second. Allies just were not, like, fun. People really liked allies in the original Zendikar block. I wasn't playing back then, but you know, people say allies were like fun and good, and in draft and in constructed, the allies just did not get there in Battle for Zendikar. Yeah, no. But anyway, back to Oath of the Gatewatch. I think it was fine. Once you got the problematic cards out of the way, I think it deserves to be just about good set, but I'm going to put it in kind of bad, you know, just not very exciting. The cards that are in it, I don't think were as bad as in Battle for Zendikar. I don't think they ruined Standard in the same way that Battle for Zendikar did, where everyone was just playing like 4-color decks all the time. But it's kind of bad. Alright, I think this video's getting on a bit. How long have we been recording for already? 22 minutes, and we're like halfway through. Alright, let's go a little bit faster. Shadows over Innistrad. A return to Innistrad. Everyone likes Innistrad. We got some cool stuff going on here. We got Arlen Cord, a Planeswalker werewolf. That's pretty cool. We got a new Avacyn. You know, and there was like, it was Innistrad is spooky. There's a mystery going on. People were like, oh, is it Emrakul subtly influencing Innistrad? And Wizards were like, no, it's definitely not. And Eldritch Moon came out, and yes, it definitely was. But I think Shadows over Innistrad deserves to be really good. I think some people would probably put that in Incredible. Depends on how much you love Innistrad. I'm like, I'm so on Innistrad. Is it fun setting for sure, but it doesn't get me quite like Ravnica does. It doesn't get me quite like Takia does. It doesn't get me quite like Thraos does. On to Eldritch Moon. What did Eldritch Moon give us? It gave us a new Emrakul, which was cool, but also problematic, especially when in the next couple of sets, Aetherworks Marvel was printed. It kind of broke Standard for a little bit. But Emrakul by itself, not necessarily a problem. The Delirium mechanic, actually pretty cool. The Meld mechanic, definitely cool, definitely flavorful. Not necessarily very powerful, but definitely cool. And it gave us a really cool Liliana Planeswalker. I think all in all, Eldritch Moon, really good set. Yeah, pretty good. Kaladesh. I really like Kaladesh, and I think when you look at the plane, this sort of Indian-inspired artifact matter plane, artifacts already makes a set cool, right? Probably makes a set broken as well, but makes a set cool. I think the inspiration for the plane is really cool. I think the story that's going on there, Tezzeret kind of infiltrating like the government of this plane and then seizing all of the cool artifacts that are made as like part of this festival of creation and creativity. That's a pretty cool story, and Chandra's role in that, and her mother and stuff, and father, and the conflict there, generally quite good. I really like Kaladesh. The Gear Hulks are a really good cycle of cards, very fun to play with. And I don't think, I'm going to quickly look at the card list here because I'm going to make a bold claim. I don't think anything in this set was truly broken. Scrapheap Scrounger is very good. Saheeli Rai ended up being broken a little bit later on because of Felidar Guardian, but that didn't actually come until the next set. You got Aetherworks Marvel in here, which like did cause problems, but only in combination with the one before it. You got Paradoxical Outcome. You got so much cool stuff going on here. Aetherflux Reservoir. How can Kaladesh not be an incredible set? Aether Revolt. As I remember, Aether Revolt started breaking things a bit more. Walking Blister was printed here. And in Magic Origins, you had Hangerback Walker printed. And a lot of games during Magic Origins Standard became who can get the Hangerback Walker out first and protect it the best. That's the person that's going to win. And everyone thought, wow, this XX artifact creature is too powerful. Wizards should never print anything like this ever again. Wizards went, hold my drink. We're going to print something like that, but way more flexible. They printed Walking Blister. Not even just way more flexible, has a way more combo potential as well. People, Pleasant Kenobi certainly did talk about Walking Blister for a very long time. And it's certainly problematic. There's other things in here that kind of like broke everything. I would argue. Feldar Guardian was printed in a set, which broke Saheeli. Even though I love Feldar Guardian as a card. This is where you got Paradox Engine from, which arguably broke Commander for a bit. A lot of people say it didn't actually need to be banned, but whatever. I'm gonna leave it in the good category. I think it's got the artifact inspiration from Kaladesh, but it did things a bit more problematically. It gave us Fatal Push as well, which is like arguably good or arguably horrible. It depends. All right, Amonkhet. One, the name is funny, especially in the UK, when Amonkhet sounds a lot like saying that you are influenced by the drug ketamine. I don't love the Egyptian theming of Amonkhet too much. I guess it reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've got a friend that really likes it because of that. And for me, just like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't seem like a good mix. The story that's going on here, the Bolas story is just not that interesting. I at least liked, this idea of Bolas making himself like a god inside Amonkhet, and making people go through these trials so that actually he can end up using them. For those reasons, I'm going to leave it in good. I think the set is fine. You're also going to notice so it was around here I stopped. I went on a break from Magic the Gathering. I'm just going to hydrate. Sorry, I'm just quickly looking at the card list for Amonkhet. Nothing standing out to me as really good. Nothing standing out to me as really broken or terrible for the game. It's got to be left in the good category. The theme is all right. Yeah. Hour of Devastation. I think it's pretty much the same story here. Oh, actually, I'm looking at the card list and I'm like, this kind of ruined things a little bit. Gave us a Braid and Ramanap Excavator, which are good. But it also gave us the Scarab God, which felt way too good in Standard for a long time. I don't know. I don't know enough about the set, and I kind of like the bell curve thing that we've got going on. I think it's probably about right to leave it in good. I'd be tempted to put it in the kind of bad category, but nah, whatever. Okay, Ixalan. Cool theme. Mesoamerican Pirates, with a bunch of different tribes all competing for rule over the kingdom. You got merfolks, you got dinosaurs, you got pirates, vampires. There might be another one I forgot. It's a fun set. It's cool. I think everything that was printed in Ixalan was pretty fun. The lands, they correctly didn't give them dual land typing. Rampaging Ferocidon got banned for some reason. It's kind of hard to tell. The flip enchantments, these have a proper name, and I can't quite remember what they were called. For the enchantments that when you fulfill a certain condition, they flip into an artifact or a land. Really cool. Where do I want to put this? I'm kind of it is pretty good. I don't know if it deserves to be really good. Actually, no, I tell a lie. I think the set was really fun. I didn't draft it, so I couldn't tell you much about that. But I think a lot of the sets in it, a lot of the cards in it, make this really good. Rivals of Ixalan. Now, Rivals of Ixalan, I have like absolutely no knowledge of. Rekindling Phoenix, the Immortal Sun, Twilight Prophet. Yeah, these cards are all certainly in here. I have no strong feelings towards this set, one way or the other. I'm going to leave it in good. Alright, Dominaria. I imagine some people are going to have pretty strong opinions about Dominaria, especially if you're a more established player that's been playing the game for longer, and Dominaria as like a location holds some value to you. For me, it doesn't. But the cards that are in it are all fine. Introduced sagas, which were pretty cool. We got to see some returning characters that I do quite like. I like Jaya, I like Khan, I like Teferi. Obviously, Teferi, arguably too good. some might say. But overall, I think Dominaria was pretty decent. No reason to put it in really good, no reason to put it in kind of bad. Not for me, at least. Core set 2019. At this point, I think Wizards of the Coast have realized how to make a good and interesting core set for fans of Magic the Gathering. Core set 2019 was the first core set I remember playing and thinking, whoa, this is like actually pretty good. This is like actually straight up fun and good. I'm going to quickly look at the card list to confirm this. I said that I wasn't going to do this, but look, here I am. We've got reprints of Scapeshift, Crucible of Worlds, Omniscience, Stitcher's Supplier, and just like cool little pieces. Nicol Bolas are in here. Reliquary Tower. Yeah, this was like actually a fun set. I wouldn't go so far as to call it really good, and again, no reason to call it bad. It's staying in good. Obviously, as I say, bell curve. You're going to have this distribution where you put more things in good than anywhere else. What's this one called? Guilds of Ravnica. We're returning to Ravnica. And I have this messed up, so it should be Ravnica Allegiance before War of the Spark. We're returning to Ravnica, but it's not Return to Ravnica, it's like Return to Ravnica. And we're doing Ravnica things, but I've got to say, I don't think it is quite as interesting as... let me just... Guilds of Ravnica. Quickly look at this. I don't think, as a set, it was quite as interesting as the first Return to Ravnica. It's nice that we got a reprint of the Shocklands again. That's definitely necessary. None of the effects here were super fun. We've got Arclight Phoenix in here, Assassin's Trophy, some good key pieces. I'm going to put it in really good because it's Ravnica. You gotta love a bit of Ravnica. But what's going on in this Ravnica, definitely not as good as what was going on in Return to Ravnica. Ravnica Allegiance. Now, apparently I'm just looking at all of the sets. So you've got the other half of the Shocklands. You've got cards like Hydroid Krasis, Smothering Tithe printed in here, but little else really that feels super fun, super exciting. I think there's a recency bias here, right? Because you're playing with these cards in Standard currently, you don't have like fond memories of them because they're currently either annoying you or you're playing with them now. A card like Hydroid Krasis just feels like silly. just too good. But just you wait, we'll find out. Green and blue is clearly in a tough spot, which is why they gave it some more help in Throne of Eldraine. Yeah, okay. War of the Spark. Some people are going to think War of the Spark is like one of the best sets ever printed because it's Planeswalkers, dude. You got so many Planeswalkers, and some people love them some Planeswalkers. I'm not necessarily one of those people. I'm not one of those people that hates Planeswalkers. Since I started getting invested in Magic, Planeswalkers have been a part of the game. So for me, like, Magic without Planeswalkers doesn't fully kind of make sense. I don't have an affinity for those old days. But War of the Spark, I think they messed up with a lot of the Planeswalkers. Having Planeswalkers with static abilities is a bad idea in the first place. Because at that point, you've just now got enchantments with activated abilities that can be attacked. This is like... Planeswalkers shouldn't have static abilities except in exceptionally rare cases. I think Nicol Bolas from War of the Spark is like one of the only static abilities that's fine on a Planeswalker. And it's annoying the way that they gave blue static abilities in this set. They were like, okay, well, you know, white is a bad color, but it's bad to tax people, and it's bad to like destroy lands and ruin fundamental interactions with the game. But blue somehow is allowed to do that. Blue can stop you from drawing cards. Blue can stop you from playing anything at instant speed, and blue can tax you for trying to target things. Yeah, that just seems like a mistake. I'm putting War of the Spark in terrible. I think its overall impact on the game of Magic is I would rather War of the Spark wasn't printed. And I don't know if there's any cards in the set that I would really mourn the loss of. Core Set 2020. Again, they'd figured out how to make a good core set, and they did it again. Core Set 2020 was pretty fun. Nothing fantastic, nothing terrible. It's going to stay in good. Throne of Eldraine, I'll say we'll just put it in the good category as a placeholder. But actually, I think Throne of Eldraine is possibly incredible. The flavour of the fairy tales is fantastic. The Arthurian legends is not necessarily my cup of tea. A lot of people do like it, but I thought it was neat enough and executed well enough in the set. And the way it kind of carved out its own sort of unique little story, accompanied by what I've heard is a pretty good book, was nice. You know, it not necessarily have to be relevant to, you know, it doesn't have to be like a super long story. It was just like a nice little ditty that happened inside Eldraine. Obviously, the set has some problems. Once Upon a Time was printed here. Oko was printed here. Both of those cards banned into oblivion in just about every format, as they probably should be. It's hard to look at that and go, this is an incredible set. I do love the theme a lot, though. I'm putting it in incredible in spite of its flaws. Last but not least, we've got the newest set, Thraos Beyond Death. Now, I started playing just after Thraos, but obviously as a result, Thraos was still in standard. I had a good knowledge of what was going on in Thraos. Thraos Beyond Death, it's early days yet, but it doesn't seem to have any of the problems that Throne of Eldraine had, where cards are just like way too good. Certainly, some cards are playing solid roles and doing very well in a variety of decks. Uro comes to mind as one of those. But so far, it doesn't seem like any cards in the set are truly breaking any formats. Obviously, the setting of Thraos is a good one. That's why the original Thraos is incredible. My biggest problem with Thraos Beyond Death, I guess, would be its story. And Wizards just really dropped the ball on this one. Obviously, people have a lot of different theories as to how this came about. People say there was meant to be a book planned, but then it was dropped at the last minute, and so they just had to like make one blog post. I especially love in the packs you can get the little ad cards, and one of them says like experience the Thraos story, and it's like, really? There's not much story to experience. And I don't think the story of Thraos is told super well through the cards. So for that it does lose some marks, but overall it's still really good. The setting is really good. The power level of the set seems like just about right, where it's high enough people are excited to play with it. It's having impacts on all formats, but it doesn't seem to be breaking any of them yet, although I do accept I could be wrong about this. Okay, I'm going to quickly go through and rank the incredible tier here. So this would be like the top 5 as a result. Khans of Takia is definitely first. Takia is the coolest setting. Throne of Eldraine comes a very close second, actually. I love the setting of Throne of Eldraine. A lot of the cards have the right power level, but Khans of Takia beats it out. Wording. Any day. After that, Ravnica is a cool setting. I didn't actually love Ravnica all that much, but I'm now DMing a D&D game set in Ravnica, and I've come to appreciate Ravnica as a playing much more. So I think that's probably about right. And I'm going to say Kaladesh. I like the Indian inspiration and all the artifact theming of Kaladesh more than I like the Greek and enchantment theme of Thraos. But that is my set review of, rankings, tier list, of every Pioneer legal set in Magic the Gathering. It took me longer than I expected. I thought we'd only be here for about half an hour, but it looks like we have been here for 40 minutes now. Hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please do feel free to disagree with me in the comment section below. Leave this video a like if you did enjoy it. Make your own tier lists and let me know about them. I'd love to see it. And subscribe if you'd like to see more card game content. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Foyfluff, and I hope that you have a lovely day.